Hi, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about a fear that has taken a hold of many people at one time or another. And that's the fear of public speaking, to get up front and to speak words in front of maybe even 10 people or 1,000 people. It can generate fear. So let's talk about that for a few minutes today. I hear so many people say, I'll never be a speaker. I can't communicate confidently. I've got nothing important to say. No one will ever listen to me, they say. You'll never catch me on stage. Have you ever said that? Even making a toast at a wedding or a speech at a community group, it can bring stage fright. Am I right? What if I could show you that there are some tips and tricks that will help you to conquer that kind of fear when you're up in front of people? You do have what it takes to speak your message, to make it loud and clear, and to get people to value your story and you and your words and your wisdom. Go ahead and take the mic and don't be afraid. Let's talk about it. I've been speaking in public for well over 50 years, since I was 16 years old. And there are still times when I get a little nervous, when I can feel rising in the pit of my stomach or doubts in my mind. I can feel those questions and say to me, are you sure you're ready for this, Doug? What if they don't like me? Some of those things haunt me still, even as an experienced speaker. What if I bomb? Will I be good today? But there are some secrets and there are some tips. I would be lying to you if I suggested in any way that through those 50 years, if I was free and clear from any dark times of the soul when it comes to speaking. Hardly. I want to tell you a little bit about my story, if that's okay. Some of it's not pretty. Some of it's hard to say. Even as I recall the pain now, it still hurts. But stay with me, because at the end there is hope. There's light. There's a story of victory. And keep watching. Please keep watching, because at the end, I'll indicate to you how I can get to you a freebie that talks about speaking tips when it comes to being up front and using that mic. Decades ago, I finally landed my dream job. It was a wonderful opportunity, the kind of opportunity that I had hoped and prayed for many years. And it was a glorious, fun adventure for not just me, but for our family, for my wife and our 4 children. But it didn't take long for it to turn sour. My nonprofit board instructed me to fire a key staff member without reason, without warning. I got along very well with that staff member, and my family and I had learned to love that family very well. But I was told he had to go, and that meant his whole family had to go, because part of the compensation package was that they lived on property. So I had to let that staff member go right at Christmas time, if you can believe it, and his wife and their 3 children. It rocked to me, to my soul. And I registered my displeasure with the board, because I thought maybe we could redesign a job description. We could reorganize in such a way that we could prevent that trauma. But no way. I was to do it, and I was to do it now. And I reluctantly went through with it. Well, my reluctance translated a few weeks later into my termination. And my family also lost the house in which we were living, and the dream job was gone. I was devastated. We were homeless. We did find a temporary place to live for a month, but that house came with no heat for the month of January. Nowhere to go. Applying for employment insurance. I was crushed. I was embarrassed. I was at rock bottom. In another situation, my employer found it difficult to pay me. Missionary support didn't come through. And I was told to go and visit a food bank in an urban area. Very scary to me. And that's how I was to feed my family. You know, it's after experiences like the two that I've already related to you that I wondered if I would ever speak again, if I would ever lead again, if I would ever have the kind of job that I had trained for, and been educated for. Again, I was crushed and I was silenced. And you know, on two other occasions in two different provinces, wealthy businessmen, millionaires tried to manipulate me with threats, with pressure, with bribes. Yeah, it was ugly. And it's not just the corporate world that has a dark side of pride and power and underbelly. Discord, disunity, gossip, pressure. And of course, I was tempted to resign myself after those events to an alternate dream of Walmart or McDonald's. I questioned the value of 9 years of education after grade 12. I doubted the call on my life to speak and to teach and to preach and to lead. I doubted my ability. I doubted my training. I doubted my calling. And others attempted to stifle my voice. I was left in the land of humiliation and discouragement and defeat. And why didn't my colleagues come to my defense? Why was I deserted? Have you ever been there? I thought I would keep silent the rest of my life. And yet, speaking was my biggest asset. Probably the greatest insult came when the gossip that pierced my heart said, Doug, you're stealing your messages off the internet. You're just cutting corners. I'd always prided myself in the vast amount of research and reading I would do in preparation for any talk. I prepared carefully. I crafted my message and I delivered it with enthusiasm and intensity that only comes when it is your message, my message, right from the heart. The greatest insult. And I was devastated. What an ugly, untrue slap in the face. But I kept on thinking I was created to speak, to make a difference. And thanks to some great friends in New England in the United States, and to some wonderful new friends in Romania, and some trusted people around the world, I resolved to stay true to my calling, to my purpose, and to live out of my passion. And I found support in those who did value me and did appreciate the message that I brought. I was enabled to continue that kind of work and to speak words of truth and life and hope. And even though I had stumbled into some dark pockets here in Canada, I was able to be appreciated around the world and to be sought out for the message that I could bring with my voice. And it's because of those experiences, precisely because of those experiences, that I believe I speak with more power and more passion and more insight and more sensitivity. I speak with more humor than ever before. I am a lifelong speaker and I am not done yet. I'm not done yet. So let me come alongside you and support you in your development as a public speaker. Let me help you with your teaching, with your preaching, with your presenting. I've designed something called Design to Delivery, D2D. It's a rigorous, but it is a manageable and practical 21-day challenge that offers action steps to hone your skills in the speaking field. All I want you to do is simply comment below with D2D, D2D to learn more. And even if D2D is not right for you right now, I'll be pleased to send you a freebie, 5 tips on how to keep attention in an age of distraction. We live in a world that is definitely distracted. And so, how do you speak to keep people's attention? How can you command their attention in the room? How do you speak and keep your audience attentive? Let me give you those 5 tips. Attention spans are short. The world is full of distractions. It's probably a myth that we might say we have now only the attention span of a goldfish. We might even say a goldfish has a better attention span than most humans. Well, I think that's a myth, because how do you measure the attention span of a goldfish? But I read things like now our attention spans are 8 seconds. 12 years ago, they were 12 seconds. That's pretty short. And so, how do you keep hold of a room? You might be an exception to those kind of people, and you might have a long attention span, but as a speaker, you're going to be speaking to people who have short attention spans. How will you keep their attention? How will you keep their minds on the things you're speaking about? How will you keep their faces, their eyes from their cell phones? There are steps you can take to increase your attention span and to increase the attention span of your audience. And so I'll give you those 5 essential ingredients. And again, to be able to do that and to be able to get a hold of this, all you have to do is say 3 letters, D2D, in the comments below. No pressure, no spamming. Let's change the world by speaking to make a difference. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing, and be sure to hit the bell for notifications. And I'll look for you on the next video. Again, this has been Doug of Doug Johns Media. Thanks for watching.